As we wait more information out of Arizona, Washington, D.C., and Syria, David Webb is the host of the David Webb radio show on Sirius XM Patriot, also a columnist at The Hill, and Leslie Marshall is a syndicated radio talk show host, and both are Fox News contributors. More reaction now. Kayla Mueller, age 26. Wow, she is dead in Syria, David. It rots your heart.
It does, Bill, but, Waleed Fair's made a very important point, and I'll say it even more bluntly. Americans and people around the world need to pay attention to what's going on in these radical Muslim-controlled areas. And no aid worker, especially a woman, should be going to these countries because when you're dead, you're not going to be able to help the people you actually wanted to help. Credit to her for her courage, but also the reality has to be dealt with, and that is something we should put out as a warning to the world.
When she went to Syria, ISIS was not in the form that it is today. And I think what that shows, David, and Leslie, I'll let you answer this, is how quickly this group has become so murderous so fast.
Very, very true. I agree with David to a degree, and not just on the gender of an aid worker. I mean, this is a young girl who's given her life literally given her life to help others. But I'm not sure that all of the aid workers are aware of the escalation of violence from ISIS around the countries that they're in. They're kind of removed from that in a sense with the job that they're doing to help others in countries like Syria, especially in Syria and Iraq. When we look at just how fast ISIS grows, I feel that we have a responsibility as a nation to inform these people and not put a ban necessarily, not leave it up to them as it be their choice, but they have to be educated, they have to be informed as to where they can and can't go, or countries they should or shouldn't go. We even have that. We have travel restrictions from the State Department as travelers.
But the big point here is to recognize how quickly this group has organized and how deadly they've become. I mean, she went to Turkey in 2012. It is only February of 2015, and now she is dead. And she's been in captivity for 17 months.
And Bill,
1 month. Within a year and a half, David, this group has managed to steal the headlines around the world and become the organized killers that we see today.
Yeah, and Bill, they are growing despite what we're being told by this government, this administration. They have gained 1/3 more territory in Syria. They're attacking in Kirkuk. They've taken Mosul, which we will not taken without door-to-door fighting. And by the way, in Syria, this was not just a new problem, especially, and I agree, it's not just gender, but especially for women. I can go on my phone and pull up an app from the State Department and the CIA and look at the warnings on going to certain countries. It's available information. Al-Qaeda and others have been active in Syria for quite some time, even before ISIS. And certainly the Assad regime, no friend of freedom. So, people need to educate themselves on what they want to do, what they can achieve, and you shouldn't surrender your life, unfortunately, to radicals. But if you go there, that's where you put yourself in that position.
Well, we're all being educated on how terrible this group is and how barbaric they are.
Tragically,
Leslie?
my friend.
This is, I agree with David. And like I said, the State Department does have these things, these organizations that people work with or volunteer to work with need to step it up in informing them. But it is a risk that many of them know. Nobody, obviously, is blaming any of these victims. Speaking to the growth bill, this is why we have to look at, as a nation and a world coalition, if you will, against ISIS, these terrorists, what we need to do. They make demands, and they know their demands aren't going to be met. And there are many, many terrorism authorities who say even if the demands were met, they would still kill these hostages. This is a very different breed of enemy we're dealing with than we have seen historically.
And clearly they have no intention of stopping. Leslie Marshall, thank you. David Webb, thank you for your time as well.